of your Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to Bosnia with love and relief items. Tzu Chi volunteers hold new shoe scholarship award ceremonies across Taiwan to help underprivileged students. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen now. Thank you for joining us. Over the past weekend, 94 young volunteers of Jingsi Books and Cafes put on the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings at the Kaohsiung Jingsi Hall in Taiwan. Thanks to their dedication over the past 6 months, the 2-hour performance not only successfully concluded on a perfect note, but also touched the hearts of those in the audience. At the Kaohsiung Jingsi Hall, young volunteers of the Jingsi Books and Cafes kick off the musical adaptation of the Sutra of Innumerable Meanings by reminding the public to be grateful and to carry out their filial duties. From the prelude to the finale of the musical adaptation, 94 young volunteers from the age of 3 to 13 give it their all, passing on the Dharma to those in the audience through movement and song.
At first, it was very hard for us to control all the children. By participating in the sutra study sessions and sign language classes, they have learned the meaning behind the sutra and were able to present it to members of the public.
The 2-hour performance by young volunteers touched the hearts of those in the audience.
I'm extremely happy to see that so many children have taken the Dharma to heart.
I believe instilling goodness in children at a young age will benefit our society.
This is 3rd grader Wong Pei Lun, who happily shares her experience during the musical adaptation. This is Wong Pei Lun's sister Tzu Chi, who is in kindergarten and has a shy nature. Despite the differences in personality, when it comes to practice, both always gave it their best.
My daughter has changed for the better, and her ability to concentrate has improved too.
This family's good affinity with Tzu Chi started because Wong Pei Lun's mother wanted to find an organization that can help Wong, who has a learning disability, embrace the world around her.
My participation in the performance has made me realize that it takes a lot of effort to communicate effectively with children.
Since May, young volunteers at the Jingsi Books and Cafes have been preparing for the musical adaptation. Through countless rehearsals, they have learned to collaborate with others. Although the performance has come to an end, the Dharma and positive messages embedded within will continue to bring positive influences to Pei Lun and her family. In May of this year, the heaviest rains and floods of the past 120 years hit the Balkans, devastating Serbia, Bosnia, and Croatia. After conducting careful disaster assessments, Europe's Tzu Chi volunteers, although limited in number, still mobilized to carry out a relief distribution in Bosnia. Here's more.
5 months have passed since Bosnia faced the worst floods of the century, and the country has yet to see the $1 billion that international donors pledged to help Bosnia recover. Many residents are still struggling to rebuild their homes and lives and hold on to what little hope is left. In July of this year, Tzu Chi volunteers from Germany already carried out 2 disaster assessments in Bosnia. Concerned for the residents' well-being with winter approaching, a distribution was deemed necessary. Departing from Germany at 5 in the morning, 50 volunteers from 8 European countries crossed 4 countries and traveled 800 kilometers before arriving in Bosnia with life-saving aids and supplies.
Everything was pretty smooth in the beginning when we passed through the borders, since we were still within the Schengen borders. However, we encountered some problems at the last 2 stops. When we arrived in Croatia, we were asked to step out of the vehicle by the customs official at immigration. He checked our passports to make sure they were valid.
After a 12-hour journey, volunteers finally arrive at their destination. Prior to the distribution, volunteers first held a meeting to discuss the distribution process, including how aid should be handed to the flood survivors. A century ago, as the heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the assassination of Franz Ferdinand and his wife sparked the First World War. 19 years ago, ethnic and religious hostilities plunged Bosnia and Herzegovina into a civil war that shocked the entire world.
There are three major religions in Bosnia. The first is Eastern Orthodox, which regarded itself as the original church founded by Christ and his apostles until its separation in 1054 into Orthodox and Catholicism. The third religion is Islam, which was brought to Bosnia by the Ottoman Empire.
The blankets and cash vouchers brought by Tzu Chi volunteers helped over 300 families just before the onset of winter.
Different part of Bosnia, different nation, different religion, Serbs, Muslim and Croats, and all of three of them are here together in the same room, and they will receive help from Tzu Chi.
The once irreconcilable religious groups have been brought together in this time of disaster. Here, there is no more conflict, only hearts of thankfulness and blessings.
Who were killing each other 20 years ago very badly. So we a little bit scared, have some problem. But basically today it happened very nicely.
Bringing warmth and care to these forgotten corners, only love can melt hatred and anger and help residents see a brighter tomorrow.
In March, Tzu Chi Foundation started the construction of 12 schools in Myanmar's Tianying Township. Among the 12 schools was the Alang Sud Elementary School, which was completed recently. Although students can finally study in new buildings, the pathways connecting the different classrooms were in poor shape. Thankfully, Tzu Chi decided to once again lend a hand by paving the paths on campus. At the Alang Sud village in Tianying Township, children often have to walk through mud puddles or temporary walkways to school. The treacherous road conditions not only affect the students, but also the Tzu Chi Foundation's construction of 12 schools in Tianying Township.
It is harder to find building materials in Myanmar compared to Taiwan. The most difficult problem we came across was that roads were cut off due to monsoon rains. That's why our building schedule kept getting pushed back.
Within 6 months, Tzu Chi Foundation had completed the construction of 10 schools in Myanmar. Furthermore, the organization even decided to lay cement concrete walkways at the Alang Sud Elementary School.
I am extremely happy because students don't have to walk on muddy roads anymore and can finally walk to school safely.
All of us are very happy to see that children can continue their education in new school buildings. Words can't describe the happiness and joy I feel right now.
Upon receiving the news of Tzu Chi's good work, local residents, students, and teachers decided to reach out with a helping hand. While some transport routes to the construction site, some rolled up their sleeves to mix concrete. Alumni of the Alang Sud Elementary School also arrived to lend a helping hand.
I want to be a part of the building process because I graduated from this school and my siblings are still studying here.
We decided to write our thanks on the pavement to let generations to come know which organizations came to help us and how everyone worked together to build the school.
Thanks to collaborative effort of local residents and Tzu Chi, students of the Alang Sud Elementary School can continue their studies in a safer environment. In Taichung's Holy Tzu Chi Liaison Office, work continues on the assembly of parts for the prefabricated housings going to the Philippines for Typhoon Haiyan survivors. Their volunteers from all walks of life gather to diligently work to provide housing for displaced residents.
Here at the Tzu Chi Holy Liaison Office, volunteers gather to assemble the parts for the prefabricated units going to the Philippines for Typhoon Haiyan survivors.
Coming here to lend a hand is the same as going to the Philippines to help.
Everyone is very glad for the opportunity to give.
Driving a forklift, Chen Haiqing looks well rested from undergoing a surgery not too long ago.
I've had a few small surgeries this year.
Another who is glossing over her body's aches and pains is Fu Yangxiang, who's over 80. She says working here is quite easy.
It's relaxing working here. If there is work, then I'll come and help.
The most difficult task of assembling the prefabs is the welding. With volunteer Hong Wu Zhen's expertise, progress has been considerably made.
In only a few days, we completed about 53% of the welding.
Among the volunteers is a husband and wife pair from Lishan. The two use their time off from work to help out at the Holy Liaison office.
I'm ecstatic in knowing the survivors will soon have houses to live in.
I'm very thankful there is this opportunity for us to give.
United in a meaningful project, all the volunteers work to complete the tasks at hand.
With a heart of joy, the quality of the work is better.
I enjoy taking part in this activity.
From all walks of life, Tzu Chi volunteers are united in helping displaced Typhoon Haiyan survivors in the Philippines get their life back on track.
In our final episode on the dangers migratory birds face in Taiwan, we see how jacanas were once nearly wiped out but have now been brought back thanks to a bunch of kind-hearted people.
Farmers came up with a new method, which is poisoning plant seeds. Now jacanas have been feeding on seeds, insects, and plants of the wetlands for their whole life. They never knew their food would be poisoned.
The once endangered jacanas were once more at risk, just like the other migratory birds taking shelter at the Guantian wetlands in Tainan, Taiwan. It was a dark page of Taiwan's conservation history. To care for their water culture, farmers even spray lime powder, which damages the environment. Aching for the harm done to jacanas, 37-year-old Li Jiebing decided to come home from the city to become a farmer, even though he majored in mechanical engineering in college.
它有一个好处，它比较健康，也比较安全。
His 8-hectare organic water culture farm is jacana friendly. There are no poison seeds here or any harmful chemicals.
有机的
In my organic farm, there are many living organisms under the water, such as insects for the jacanas to feed on. Their offspring can also come here and feed.
A farm is more than a tool that provides food for humans. It is also a shelter to birds and animals.
There are some 400 hectares worth of water cultural farms here in Guantian, Tainan, which makes up the largest wetlands in Taiwan. There are many aquatic plants here, making this area very suitable for migratory birds.
Tending to his field, Li cares more about coexisting in harmony with nature than his crop yield.
这是金蛙虫啊，对啊，然后它
This is leaf beetle. See how it's feasting on the leaves. I hope there are more frogs and jacanas, which will eat the insects, so we wish more jacanas were here.
As if hearing Li's pleads, jacanas appear and do their work. Back in 1989, the jacana population of the whole island once fell below 50. Thankfully, a group of activists began protecting the bird. The 15-hectare jacana conservation park was once dry land, but more than a decade later, it is now home to several hundred jacanas. During the mating season, the male jacanas will clear a patch in a water culture farm for the females to lay their eggs. Soon, golden eggs will be laid, which will then give birth to baby jacanas.
所有的水蛭宝宝。
All baby jacanas will hide underneath their dad's wings, where they will be safe from the elements and be properly cared for.
顾得它们的安全。
These two nestlings are learning to hunt following after their dad. Such a rare sight is the precious gift of nature. Yet, people living in the city seem to pay no mind to such treasure.
它为什么会跑来这里？
The egrets have moved here in masses because they have lost their normal breeding ground. There are so many dead nestlings here.
Unable to find a suitable habitat, birds are forced to take a risk by moving closer to humans. The Fazi River of Taichung was once a haven for migratory birds, but is now lost thanks to men.
The concrete embankments are very hard. Most birds build their nests in earth embankments, so that's why the population of kingfisher has been greatly reduced here.
Humans seem to forget we are not the only living beings in this world. For thousands of years, birds have been flying across thousands of miles, migrating between regions. If one day such natural process comes to an end, perhaps birds might not be the only species that will become extinct.
Tzu Chi's New Shoe Scholarship is given to needy yet deserving students who need a hand in education. This year, Tzu Chi volunteers are holding 25 scholarship award ceremonies across Taiwan and honoring over 6,900 students for their remarkable efforts.
Here at the Tzu Chi New Shoe Scholarship Awards ceremony, the students' energy lights up the event. In Taiwan, 25 ceremonies will take place with over 6,900 students to be honored for their academic achievements.
The scholarship support is very helpful in terms of not only material needs, but spiritual needs too.
The highlight of the ceremony at the Shantung grounds was the two young Master of Ceremony. Placing first in an indigenous speech contest, Jiang Hao is not only a scholarship recipient this year, but was chosen to announce the names of the other recipients.
什么样的小志工？就是念名单的小志工。哦，这是念名单的小志工。好，那蒋浩花了几天来准备这个志工的唱名工作？2-3天。
Contrasting with the animated Jiang Hao, 6th grader Guo Anqi is steady and firm.
Announcing names is just like giving a speech. It's fun.
While at the award ceremony at the Banqiao grounds, He Xingrong, who is 18, volunteered for the usher position.
In the past few years, I was always the one receiving help. This is the first year crew work was open to students, so I thought to seize the chance to help and be on the giving end for once.
Seeing such giving of time and effort, it's evident that the seeds of giving have taken root and blossomed in the hearts of these children. Meanwhile, in Taichung's Jingsi Hall, scholarship aid was awarded to 1,048 students from the Taichung and Changhua regions, enabling them to look to a brighter future.
Receiving the scholarship is a boost to my confidence in my singing, so I will work harder in that area. During this award ceremony, the deputy director of Taichung's Social Affairs Bureau shared her personal hardships while growing up and also praised the name of the Tzu Chi Scholarship. New Shoots is such a suitable name. It's a seed of hope. Every new shoot is a seed that is worth our nurturing and cultivation. In Banqiao, among the 395 students receiving Tzu Chi Scholarship assistance are twin brothers Chen Guanchun, Chen Guantai. Growing up in a broken home without a mother, the Chen brothers are thankful for the care of their father.
It's just my dad that's taking care of us.
You might not be able to attend different types of tutoring like other children, but the most important thing is you should never give up on yourself.
Not giving up in life despite setbacks, these students can study worry-free from the financial difficulties that burden their families. Hsinchu Commercial Vocational School student Wang Yingzhen's biggest wish is to be a singer, but due to her family's financial difficulties, she has taken on a part-time job instead of pursuing her dreams.
When I get home, it would be around 11 or 12. So I'll take a quick shower, and if there's still time left before bed, I'll study a bit.
Wang Yingren doesn't forget her academic or filial obligations.
The money she receives from working or singing, she'll give it all to me. In my eyes, she's a very thoughtful and filial child.
Wang Yingren is among the 264 New Shoot Scholarship recipients in Hsinchu who received this year's high praise. From Penghu's Wen'ao Elementary School, knowing his mother suffers from mental illness, third grader Li Shengyu helps by making sure his grades are always top-notch, so his father doesn't have to worry.
In a way, it can inspire them. They will in turn study harder because they want to receive the scholarship. It's motivation.
Li Shengyu doesn't forget to give back to those in need, as he has brought in a year's worth of saved coins.
It's the money I've saved from the allowance my father gives me.
You're just like a new sprout, small and delicate. However, in life, we possess the tenacity to overcome setbacks and challenges. These are lessons in life that we all go through.
Receiving their scholarship award, the 54 students in Penghu are given a boost on their path to education, and now can face hurdles straight on with confidence.
In Malaysia, most refugee children do not have access to a formal education. Knowing how essential education is, Tzu Chi volunteers at the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees join hands to establish education centers to offer a better future for these children.
These children, who initially lacked access to basic education, have had their dreams fulfilled with the establishment of the UNHCR Tzu Chi Education Centers, a joint effort between the Tzu Chi Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter and UNHCR.
One thing about the examination is not to see who get the best marks, but to see whether they can understand what they have studied all this while. In Standard 5, when they are not stable, the marks are not good. So when they go to Standard 6, it will be even worse. So that's why we put them back one more year in Standard 5. If they are fluent, they learn, then we promote them, progress them step by step.
Currently, a total of 540 students are enrolled at the centres, with Standard 6 classes becoming available from next year at the Selayang Centre. Having the opportunity to study further is a dream come true for every student.
I can study very well in here. I like my teachers because my teachers is too good and hard-earned person. If I don't know also, teacher didn't angry with us. Teacher teach us again and again.
My wish is to become a teacher one day. I aspire to become a teacher like teacher Juvita because she is a great person and she helps her students a lot.
Helping actualize their dreams of a proper education, Tzu Chi volunteers believe that this education project will bring a better future for these refugee children.
We go back to Taiwan at the end of the show. During the New Shoe Scholarship Award ceremony held at the Taoyuan Jingsi Hall, recipient Huang Xingru took the opportunity to thank the organization for its endless support. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.